How's it going, everybody? SG back again with another Buddy Fight video. Okay, before I start this video, I just want to say sorry for not uploading for the past 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. We started tertiary education, and managing time is kind of tough for us now. So plus me, Glenn, and Wei Qiang, the three of us are in different schools now, so we don't meet up as often as before. But don't worry, the channel is still alive. We still meet up quite often. So yes, today we have a Searing Executioner's deck list in front of us, and I mean, like, the cards and stuff. So yep, this is our flag and buddy, and this is a live counter that I made by killing one of my paper Searing Executioner's flag. So since making your own custom, like, live counter is in the trend right now, I might as well make one myself, which I'm pretty proud of, actually. Although it's not that nice if you look at it close up, but it still does its job. So yep, this is our flag and buddy. We have the Searing Executioner's flag. You can pause and read the effect right there. It's not your standard flag, of course. And as for our buddy, I'll go through that later on. So yep, now for the size 3s, we only run 4 copies, which is Dragon Towards Transfiguration Paradise Lost. So having a 726 stat, it's a fairly decent card, and you can pause and read the effect right there. So one thing that's interesting about this is it's both a Guardian and Executioner, so you can run it in both decks, and of course its skill will complement both of them respectively. So that's Paradise Lost. Sorry if I sound a little bit sound a little bit off. I'm actually feeling slightly under the weather now. So yep. Next, moving on to size 2s, we have 4 copies of Tempest Jailer Hellkugger. This is one of the main advantage generators of this deck, because the effect will allow you to draw 1 card and gain 1 life if you kill or deal damage to your opponent. The drawing is provided if you have 10 or more cards in your drop zone, or having a Gate of Judgment Verdict on your field. Gate of Verdict Judgment, sorry. And getting 10 cards in your drop zone is not really as tough as you think it is. So yep. And it has double attack, so you can, like, farm more cards. Next, we have 4 copies of Sound Speed Jailer Helengepard. This is your early game drop zone farmer. So having a 626 stat, it's a fairly decent size too, and it has Soul Guard, so it will allow you to stay on the field longer and gain more cards in your drop zone, because whenever this card is destroyed, you get to put 2 cards from your deck into the drop zone, so that's effectively 5 cards in your drop zone. Okay, next for size 2s, we have 4 copies of Hazel Emperor Jailer All-King. So it's a hero, fairy, and executioner attribute. So you get to play this in Oberon, which will allow you to trigger Oberon's effect faster, because his effect will allow you to mill 3 cards from your deck and destroy an item or a spell. So you can, like, get your Oberon out 1 turn faster or something. Okay, so that's it for size 2s. Now for the size 1s, we run 4 more copies of our buddy, Chaotic Hunt Jailer Soku. So you can pause and read the effect right there. It will allow you to draw cards by milling, so you get more advantage. Next, we have 4 copies of Sword Edge Jailer Zagulus. So having a 5/2/1 stat, it's a very, very versatile size 1. It will allow you to clear your opponent's field or swing for 2 damage. So this will allow you to search your deck for the set spell Gate of Verdict Judgment, which is a very, very vital game piece in Executioner's deck. Sorry, I just can't speak very well today. Now, although it has a core cost of 1 gauge, but it guarantees you a search for Judgment, so it's a very good card. Next, we run 2 copies of Headslay Jailer Brujeria, which has a similar effect to Zagulus from before. So this will also allow you to search Gate of Verdict out. So again, with the cost of 1 gauge, it's a very, very good searcher. Although I run 2 copies of this only simply because of the stat. So yeah. That's it for size 1s. Now moving on to the size 0s, we have 4 copies of Headhunt Jailer Sai. So it's a 1/1/3 stat card, but I play it mainly because of its passive milling ability, which will allow you to mill a card whenever it attacks, basically. It will also allow you to rob soul from your opponent's field, which is amazing. Considering that it's a size 0, you can have 2 of them on the field and you wreak havoc with them. So like this is one of the best counters for Shadow Shades in my opinion. Because you either force your opponent to drop the soul from the impact monster to kill it, which is a bit wasteful in my opinion, or it can stay on the field and you swing for your opponent's soul. And you get to mill cards, which is like the main thing for executioners. Next, moving on to spells, we have 4 copies of the Gate of Verdict Judgment. So this is the card that I've been talking about, the important game piece. So you can read the effect. It's a very long one. You can pause and go ahead, but the first effect will allow you to farm for more cards in your drop zone, as well as getting more gauge, whereas the second effect is more for the late game and you get to draw more cards. So very, very good card. You can set more than one, so it's up to you. Okay, now next we have our main defense. We have 4 copies of Hell's Shield right here. 4 copies of Hell's Shield. So with a cost of 1 gauge, you get to nullify an attack, and 10 or more cards will give you 2 gauge and make this card unnullifiable. And if you have 15 or more cards in your drop zone, you shoot your opponent 1 damage. So very good card. Next we have 4 copies of Inferno Rule, a destruction spell for the cost of 1 gauge. Although this is probably the only counter you have for stars, like 20 or more cards, you shoot your opponent's frozen stars, and yeah. So you can pause and read the effect right there. Again guys, go ahead and pause and read the effect of the cards if you don't think my explanation is good enough. Okay, moving on to Magic World spells now. We have 4 copies of Damien's Decision, mill 2, charge and draw 1, a very standard charge and draw spell in decks nowadays. Next, we have another defensive spell, 4 copies of Shadow Crusader. Mill the top 3 cards of your deck into your drop zone and reduce damage taken by 3. So it's a dual world spell. Very, very good card. Next, we have 4 copies of Own Style Sliding Fang, prevent the destruction of one of your executioners. So very, very decent card to run. Okay, now moving on to Katana World spells. We have 2 copies of Demon Way Jigokuze. Yeah. You get to call out one of your Skull Warriors or Executioners from your drop zone. So by paying its call cost, which is like what, 1-2 gauge maybe, or impact monster, which is at 3 gauge, but why would you do that? A very good card in my opinion, because you get to farm this card out for the cost of 2 gauge, which will add on more to your drop zone. Amazing. Next we have the main draw spell on the deck, which is 3 copies of Demon Way Akeshigure. With the cost of 1 gauge, you get to mill the top 2 cards of your deck, further adding on to your drop zone, and draw 1 card. And then if you have 10 or more cards in your drop zone, you get to draw another card. Amazing. With the cost of 1 gauge, you can probably draw 2 cards, because getting 10 cards in your drop zone is not as difficult as you think when it comes to executioners. Next, for our only weapon in the deck, we have 4 copies of Executioner Hammer Hell's Fender, a 2k weapon with a 2 critical, but if you have 15 or more cards in your drop zone, you gain 2 crit, which is a 4 crit swing to the face. Fairly pressurizing weapon, so yeah. Now moving on to impact monsters, we have 3 copies of Gargarios, Prison Pyre Demonic Wave, a 12/5/5 card, very high stats, a very long effect. So a call cost of 3 gauge and put a monster or Gate of Verdict Judgment from your field into your drop zone. So you have 2 choices. And when you enter the field, if you have 20 or more cards in your drop zone, destroy all the opponent's monsters. So you can clear your opponent's field just by calling this guy out. And if you have 30 or more cards in your drop zone, your opponent can't cast the counter if this card is attacking alone. So this Executioner's deck not only has advantage generating capabilities, you also have very, very big burst power. This in fact has 5 crits. So that's a 5 crit to your face, cannot use counter, simply amazing. Although it can be shut down by quite a lot of cards, but hey, it's still a fun deck. So that's about it for executioners, guys. Do leave a comment if you think my deck is not good. If you think this deck can change something. I'm not sure if executioners will get any more support, but this is it for now, and this will be the deck that's gonna be featured in the next buddy fight video. So thanks for watching, guys, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.